Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Green Dragons Game Club. Without us, they wouldn't feel like winners, and without them, we couldn't look so good. So, again, we're based out of Westchester, Pennsylvania. And if you're basically around Philadelphia, give me a call or reach out to me on here, I should say. So, this is another Ninth Age Battle Report and version 2.1 that is going to be here at Hogsfest 2019. And it was held out in Milwaukee, run by Jeff. And I gotta say, this was a blast. My only complaint was the time um, per game. He had set at 2:30, but let's be honest, he actually extended the time on every single game, so you can't even really claim that as a complaint. And that's a nitpick. This was such a good event, such a fun time. Because it was out in the Midwest, I got to see people who I usually don't get to play against a lot. Although I did see Brandon from CGL, Phil Carl from my own group, and it was just a blast. I can't say enough about it. Got to see Chaihammer and just a whole slew of people who super nice and fun to play against. So here I am now, game four. I've had one huge win, one good win, and one small loss so far. And now I'm going up against VC. The gentleman, his name is Bing. I've never played him before. He plays up with the East Coast Warriors up out of New York. Awesome guy, super nice. And I mean, that's a great group up there as well. And of course, he's playing VC. I'm playing KoE. I'm going, I don't want to play VC. They don't break. That's my whole point of my army, is to make it break. And he's got this Lamian Barrow Guard Death Star that is, it's on a quarter of a dance. So it's got a 4+ ward save. It's got supernatural dexterity, but it's got a great weapon. However, it has lightning reflexes because it's a Lamian. Therefore, it's going at agility whatever plus hit plus whatever. It's he's got the Book of Arcane Mastery on it. He's got another adept with the Necromantic Staff, so he should be able to keep raising stuff. Working my way down the list. What am I concerned with? Believe it or not, is not so much the zombies, but it is the spawn and his chaff. He has 4 units of chaff. He's got 2 tar pits, 1 bunker, and 1 Death Star. And those Barrow Guard are. And now he put the Rending Banner versus a +1 to hit. Personally, I like the +1 to hit, not so much Rending, but they're sword and board. Or no, he's using halberds. So I can see why he did it, but I still like the +1 to hit. But the thing is they're offensive 6, they're defensive 6, because the Lamian bloodline that he has on there allows them to do that. I'm going, I can't hit that unit. I have to kill everything else, and to get through those tar pits is going to be a bear. I'm not sure how I'm going to turn around and pull this off. Here's my list. You've seen it before at this point in time. So this is actually after assault phase of turn 1. So he did a Vanguard up. I did not bother. I moved one of my Vanguards. I didn't bother with the other one. And the reason why I moved it up is this is really like his 4th game or 5th game playing VC. He had his spawn facing me. I'm like, okay, well, if that's the case, your general is all the way over there. You're here. Granted, your leadership 8, but it's still a frenzy, so it's a maximized test. I'll throw the bait out there. I turn around, I bait him out, and he needed a 9 or a 10 on the overrun. It would have been a front to the Grails. So overall, I'm not worried. I have the aspirants set up there to turn around and do their thing if need be. Now, this was not Dawn Assault, Marching Columns and Secure Target. So we've got 1 token all the way on the far left, 1 token on the far right. as you can see, he has a unit of zombies, which I fully expected. And over here, hey, look, another big tar pit of zombies. Oh, I had no idea what that little model there did. It's a Banshee that hits automatically with, I want to say D6 or D6 plus 1, hits at strength 4 AP 1. So I had no idea. He goes up. There's his assault. And this is the end of his movement phase. So let me go ahead and show this next picture because it shows this a little bit better. He has his Varkalak literally right there, nudged right between my units. Well done on his part. He has his chaff set up behind the chaff. And I'm looking at this, and originally my thought process is, okay, I want to go ahead, I'm going to throw the Crusaders in there, let them take one for the team, and bog them down until I can get everything else in place. And the more I thought about it, and the more I looked at it, I'm like, I've got a better idea. Let's see what happens. So he eats my chaff. You can see how he's got me chaffed. He's got another chaff right outside the ruins, and then he's got his bunker back there. And he's got his chaff set up so that he's trying to set up so the aspirants cannot charge the flank because he's fully expecting or hoping to get that overrun. Well, he's a little bit short. However, let me go back a pick. The way he set this up, though, is I was able to wheel around, charge into the chaff up at the top, and then overrun into his bunker with his mage. So there's that. Oh, I'm hitting up. Sorry, hitting the wrong key again. So I charge him with Grails, which is never a good life decision because those are Grail Knights. I move my Duke so that I have his leadership bubble. And basically, I'm going to ignore the Varkalak. I'm hoping that maybe my Scorpions can do their job, but I'm not worried about it. And as he did try to shoot my chaff, he knocked off 2 with his shooting attacks. But what I ended up deciding was I'm going to go in with my BSB and his unit, and then they're going to go into that chaff after that. There's a reason why. Over here on this side, I did not move my crossbows. As a matter of fact, my crossbows, I want to see where my MVP this game. So this turn, well, I'm not sure if I'm jumping ahead. I may not have all the pictures because, again, the game timing was really, really tight. Next picture, you can see I turn around, I got into his chaff, I have him chaff, the Grail Knights are there. So I've got two knights. I think he did a stand and shoot, so I lost one. He's got 2 knights, and I just blow her up because the unicorn gives me, lo and behold, magical attack. So he's got the worst ward save. He does nothing to me, and it's just like Sherman's March to the Sea. Now counts as a fresh charge. I position myself so both the zombies and the other unit are in my front. I am 75 wide. He's 80, 92 and a half wide, so that's not an issue. All my models are in combat. And on the other side, easily ate that chaff and then got into his bunker and only lost 1 knight due to dangerous terrain. So I was pretty stoked about that. Ground Knights ate the vampire spawn, and my crossbows turned around and shot off his other 2 units of chaff over there. Because believe it or not, that chaff, I mean, peasants are peasants. They have a really low leadership. They have a really good chance of killing my peasants and making me run. Let's see. So this one here, he declares a charge on my chaff that I was chaffing him up with. It flees. He charges into my 1 Scorpion because I actually did hit wound and he saved. It's got a fortitude test. And that's basically it. He's going to end up eating that. As I said, I chaff. So Because I fled from him, he tried to redirect when we go back into the Crusaders. He failed that charge. And in retrospect, had he done that, I'm not sure it would have been better for him or worse. I really don't. So just going back, he failed that. It eats that. So I want to go back just a few picks. So this is the end of his movement phase. He kept trying to fiddle with how to chap me from getting into his big brick over there. And he's like, do I use my chaff? Do I use my Varkalac? Or do I do this with the Varkalac? I'm like, whatever you want. Just, I'm easy going. Whatever works. And he leaves me a 10 on dice with Swift Stride. And I'm looking at this going, I can easily just simply move up without declaring any other charges. Just move up, have my Duke hit the front, have my Grails hit the front, and have my Knights of the Realm in the flank with a breath weapon and everything else. I like this idea. So going forward, that's exactly what happened. I got my 10 on the 2 dice, 2 of the 3 dice, and that was it. I positioned my Crusaders in such a manner because I didn't want his Varkalac to charge into my rear. God forbid that unit is still there. And that was 10 attack rerolling 1s, hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s. He allowed me to get entwining roots up, so my Duke was actually hitting on 2s. Onto his guard over there. And so that was probably close to 10 wounds. And I think the Hippogriff turnaround did about 2-3 wounds. Failed its stomp this time. My breath weapon only did about 3 wounds. Grail Knights did a bunch of wounds, hits and wounds. And I issued a challenge with my damsel sitting in the back behind of my Grail Knights. The reason why is his champion is touching my BSB. So I'm like, okay, I think I can live with this. I think I can make this work. So because of that, I challenged. He had to either accept with his lord, which he didn't want. He wanted the lord to do all her attacks into the unit, or he accepted the champion. Well, by him accepting that champion, it took the champion's attacks off of my BSB and prevented him from killing my BSB regardless. And as it turned out, he only did 2 wounds. I wiped the unit out to a man, leaving only the character, and then the character just popped due to combat res. With that said, I turn around and I reposition myself like this. This is the last pick that I took of the game. I'm just going to go back a few things and show you what ends up happening. My aspirants end up killing that second mage in the second round of combat. I just rolled poorly the first round, but eventually I grind the skeletons out to 0. The Peasant Crusaders end up fleeing, I believe, off the board, and the Varkalac here gets eaten. Those bats, I think he actually were just down to like 1 or 2 wounds. I'm just trying to go back to 1 pick. So this is why I'm going to say that my crossbowmen were MVP. So he's already lost his lord. He's already lost his mage. So his army's crumbling. I move my and he's sitting on an objective. I'm sitting on an objective. I move my crossbows. He takes the bait. Even if he didn't take the bait, then I would have positioned the crossbows so that because I think I had second turn, but I would have positioned them so that I could have gone in and tried and contested that one objective to then claim objectives, because I'd be seeing on the other one by myself, because eventually the zombies into the Knights of the Realm end up just going away. I think my Duke goes over and helps out with that, but it just was not a contest there. And anyway, getting back to the peasants, so he charges them, but he's still fairly close to objective. And I looked down, I'm like, you just cost yourself the objective. So he goes, what are you talking about? You're going to break. I'm going to stay. I'm like, what's your leadership? He goes, 2. So you're going to have to pursue me and get yourself off the objective. Oh. He didn't even think about it, because usually I say I completely agree. Usually zombies are going to be near a higher leadership model, and we just found out from this, because I'm not able to punk the general for all these crumble tests. But when there's such a low leadership, they're almost bound to go ahead, pursue, and run off the board. So the zombies are gone. The Varkalak ends up dying to Ground Knights and the Duke. The zombies on the left end up dying. The skeletons end up dying. And literally, I think all he had left was the 1 unit of bats at the end. Needless to say, that ends up being a 20-0 victory. I went from a small loss to 2 huge wins, which I did not expect a huge win against BC. As I said, first off, he was sitting after 3 games at 44 points. So he's doing well with that list. And this room had some tough people. It had Schweitzer, it had Bergie, it had Mike, it had Dave, myself, Phil. I mean, there's Chris. It had high caliber players there, and he's doing well. So my hat's off to Bing for going in there with that army. I just happened to take advantage of a few mistakes. I actually did inform him of the mistakes that he made, so that the following game that he played, his vampire spawn were facing away from his opponent, so he did not get frenzy baited again. Any questions or concerns, definitely feel free to reach out to me. And until next time, happy gaming.